What's going on, guys? This is Riggs, and I don't even know where to start with this video. You guys have been absolutely incredible with all of the support. Let me tell you guys something. This series, the How to Play or the Play Like a Pro series, this series has literally become life-changing. The support you guys show for these videos, the likes, the subs, the comments, it is ridiculous. I just went back and checked when we covered Shabir, who was the #1 ranked player in Asia last season. That video is at 10,000 likes. There's a reason why we call this the biggest small channel on YouTube, and I just really want to say thank you to each and every one of you that is watching this, that is watching the screen, that is listening to my voice. I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your support. Now, we're already a minute into the video. We're going to jump right into this. As you guys saw in the title and as you guys saw in the thumbnail, we are featuring none other, a man that truly does not even need an introduction, none other than Sixless. I asked him everything from top to bottom, left to right, how he got his gamer how he got his nickname, his top 5 tips and tricks, ranking, grinding rank versus comp players, everything you can think of, his favorite loadouts. We got it all, you guys. So sit back, relax, and I really hope you enjoy this episode, this installment of How to Play Like a Pro, literally learning from a pro. I know a lot of people have had back and forth about ranking. Riggs, why are you covering all these ranking players? They're not true pros. So you know what we did? We got a pro, a real pro player, and he's going to be breaking it down for you guys. How to become one, what you need to do, the teams he's played for, the countries he's traveled. Let's go ahead and jump right into this, you guys. So the first question that I had to ask Sixless, this one's been on my mind for a while. Low-key been a fan of Sixless for a very long time. I mean, he's been around, he's an OG, he's been around for a very long time. I've always wanted to ask him this. I'm so glad I got the opportunity to do it. So the first question, I asked him, how did you get the name Sixless? It sounds so, I'm sorry, it sounds so badass. I just had to find out how he got that name. His response was, he says, he misspelled the name. And then I said, well, what was the name that you misspelled? What was it? He says his original gamer name was Sizzles. That's right, Sizzles. So when he typed it in, if you guys look on the QWERTY keyboard, the Z is next to the X. So he mistyped it when he was, creating an account for a game, don't know which one, and he typed the 2 X's instead of the 2 Z's, and he just left it. He says, wow, Sixless, that sounds kind of cool. And you know what, dude? You're right. That does sound cool. So we're very thankful that you kept it. But I'm sorry, guys. I had to ask him how he got the name Sixless. It just rolls right off the tongue. Okay, and then I of course, always ask him, we're start off with the softball questions. I asked him, what device do you play on? I know everybody always, that people that tune into this series always want to know the device. So the device that Sixless plays on is an iPhone XS Max. Say that 3 times fast, but yeah. So, and there you guys go. I know we feature some tablet players. You guys are like, tablet players. Dude's playing on a phone, you guys. That's these tournament comp players. They play on phones. That's what's up. So then, of course, I asked him, when did you start playing PUBG Mobile? He says, I started in Season 1 of PUBG Mobile and ended the season ranked number 2 overall on the leaderboards. If I'm not mistaken, I think the highest rank someone got in like the real Season 1 before it was Season 1, I want to say it was like Crown, I think. Then I asked him, did you play any other first person or any other type of shooting games before PUBG? He says he came from Rules of Survival, and then once PUBG came out, he went ahead and switched over to that. Then, of course, I asked him what his favorite loadout is and what attachments he likes on those weapons and so on. He says, my favorite loadout would be an M4 with an angled grip and comp, and a VSS or Car 98. And as you guys know, a lot of people have the nickname coined for Sixless, which is the VSS god. Also, Snake King. We'll get into that later. But yeah, he is known for using that VSS and using it very, very well. Then I asked him what is his favorite map to play on, and his response, to my surprise, he says Miramar. He says Miramar is my favorite map because it's mostly all gun skill, unlike a map like Sonok, where you can just lay in the grass and shoot a guy as he walks by and have him never see you at all. So he says that very, very well, but that's true. Miramar, Vikendi is kind of in that same realm as far as the snaking. And he makes a really, really good point. It comes down to gun skill rather than just, kind of hiding, proned out somewhere. Very, very well said. So the next question I wanted to ask him is, do stats matter? If so, why? Here's his response. He says, stats matter for rank grinders. He says, but the only stats that matter for competitive players is their tournament stats. Very, very interesting. So then we go on to rank versus comp players and what's the difference between them. Sixless response, he says, the difference between the two is that competitive gets the best of the best players every single time they play scrims or a tournament. Whereas rank pushers, he says rank pushers only fight 2 to 3 good teams a match, which doesn't get them as much practice as comp players get. Meaning if a comp player really wanted to push the leaderboards or push those ranks, they would be able to do it and be able to do it well. And by the way, a little nugget for you guys is, I'm not sure how many in Space Station Gaming are going to be doing it, but I will tell you that Sixless told me personally that Season 10, he's pushing leaderboards. So that'll be very, very exciting to see some comp players, like true comp pro signed players, pushing the leaderboards on the global version. I think that's going to be incredible for the game and for the community. And I'll be very, very happy to be right there to cover that action for you guys. Then I asked him, how did he first get involved in the competitive scene? He says, I first got into the scene when I was in Lights Out with Angry, Juicy, and Hawkeye. So definitely want to ask him some more of these competitive how to get involved in these teams. So those are the questions you guys are going to be hearing now. Then I asked him, what other teams has he played for? Because we've known for quite some time that he's played for Space Station. He already, actually, the question before this just kind of answered that, but he says that he played for Lights Out. After Lights Out, he went over to G25. And then from G25, he went over to SSG, where he is still in Space Station Gaming. And then I wanted to ask him, what are some of the big or more milestone, because these guys are doing scrims pretty much every single day in little mini tournaments, but I asked him what were some of the big tournaments that he's done. He says that he's completed in the PUBG Mobile Star Challenge, the very, very first one, and he made it to the North America Finals. Then he was in the PUBG Mobile Club Open Spring Split for North America Finals and Worlds. Then he was in the PEGI 2019, where they actually got a chance to go over to China, and that stands for the Peacekeeper Elite Global Invitational. So these are some big, these are huge tournaments, you guys. And then he was in the PUBG Mobile Star Challenge 2 Worlds, and that one was actually invitation only, whereas the first Star Challenge, for those guys that have been around long enough to remember that, that's where pretty much anybody, I think with over 1,000 followers on any of the social medias, could join. The PUBG Mobile Star Challenge, the second one that we just had, that was invitation only, and he did in fact get invited to that, or his team. Then he was in the PUBG Mobile Club Open Fall Split North America Finals, the Omelet Arcade 10K, and the Omelet Arcade 40K. So, you want to talk about having a rap sheet of freaking tournaments that you've been involved in. This is it right here, you guys. So the next question I want to ask him is, what would you tell somebody who wants to get involved in the competitive scene? What is something that you would tell them? He says, I would tell them to practice hard and don't give up. Find a team who plays scrims and play scrims with them daily. This is very, very important, you guys. Listen to this carefully. He says, work through the tough times The team has work through the tough times that the team has, because every team in every game will have a period where they're doing worse than usual. So they got to work through that and do not give up. Very, very well said. Little motivational words there from none other than Sixless, and he makes some very, very good points as well. Then I asked him another question a lot of people like to ask is, do you have like a routine? There's a lot of the pro players that we've done on this series, do they do like TDMs? Do they do some classic matches? Do they play some sniper training? Do they just go into the training grounds? This is what he says. He says, I don't really have a training routine. Before he plays comp, he says, I usually just get on and play. I don't even do a classic match for warm-ups. But you have to kind of find your own way. This is just his personal way. He doesn't have to warm up. He just jumps right in there. Very, very cool. Next one is I asked him, what is his most memorable moment in any of the big competitions that he has done? Something that stood out to him. His response, he says, my most memorable was when I got #2 fragger for PMCO Worlds. And if you guys remember that, the only person that had more kills than Sixless was none other than Paraboy. So this dude is it, you guys. This is it. This is as good as it gets right here. Then another question I wanted to ask him, which is something that I was really curious on to ask. And I thought, it'd be good to share with all you guys. As I said, what do you think lies for you in the future, as far as, are you going to continue doing competitive play, or are you eventually going to switch over and just focus on the content creator? Basically, what is your future in competitive play? He said, I'm going to continue my comp career another year or so while I build up my socials, then become a content creator. In my humble opinion, Sixless is already a content creator, but what I think he's saying is that he's going to put all his focus and energy on the content creator side, once he gets to that point. But for now, he's going to keep doing comps. Now, the part that you guys always love tuning in for is the top 5 pro tips. I always ask each and every person that I feature in the Play Like a Pro series, what are their 5 pro tips that they would tell somebody to get better at the game. So, tip number 1. He says, try out gyro. He says 90% of the pros in NA use it, and if you don't like it, that's fine, but it's a big game changer for my accuracy and spray. So this dude's using full gyro. Even on the gameplay, if you guys watch closely, you can actually kind of see, or you can tell when someone's using gyroscope. Another person that used it a lot as well is, I'm sure everyone watching this video has heard of Rolex, right? So Rolex, same thing. You can just look at their screen and know that they're using it just by kind of, for lack of a better word, like wobbles. It kind of, has like a little motion to it. But using gyro will make you more accurate if you can nail it down. So practice, 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 you guys. Next one, tip number 2. He says, try out 4-finger claw. Yes, thank you. He says, try out 4-finger claw. It'll increase your reaction speed since you're able to press more buttons than with 2 or 3 fingers. Now, we have featured thumb pro player on the series as well, and even them themselves being a thumb player. The person I'm talking about is Calm from Execute. He's even said that he knows if he switches over to claw that he would become a better player. It's just getting out of that comfort zone. So again, just like the gyro, comes down to practice, practice, practice. Yeah. So, and I've even made videos about it. Go ahead and check them out. Maybe I'll link one down in the description. But yeah, definitely, if you're a thumb player, my recommendation too would definitely be to try out claw without a doubt. Tip number 3, he says, don't be over aggressive. That'll lead you to overstepping a hill or peeking a building window too long and get you knocked or killed. Short and sweet, but it makes so much sense. His 3rd tip right there. Tip number 4 says, pay attention to the circle timer and where the circle is, and take the best position in the circle so that you'll be able to take the easy chicken dinner. That comes down to rotations, short side, long side, all that stuff. We'll be able to cover all that in this video. But yeah, just knowing when to make those rotations. Very, very important. A lot of that, again, comes down to playtime. Tip number 5, he says, carry more smokes. He says, I see a lot of classic match players carrying 2 to 3 smokes. He says, you should be carrying around 8 or even more in case you get stuck in a sticky situation. He says, the smokes will save your life more than you think. Something I've always preached. I've also, same thing, I think I've done maybe 2 or 3 different smoke tutorial videos on this channel. People are like, "Oh my God, Riggs, why do you have your pickups queued for 10 smokes?" It's this very reason right here. And look, he even has a little bonus tip. Tip number 6. He says, sorry, this one popped up in my head. He says, take more than 2 cars if you're in a 4-man team. He says, lots of people like to take 1 car for the whole team, but if that car gets destroyed, then you don't have one. He says, I recommend taking at least 2 if you find them. Very, very good tip there. Now, another question a lot of you guys also like to ask, or that want me to ask, is basically backpack inventory. How many rounds of each caliber are they carrying around with them? How many smokes? Even though he just answered that. Throwables, bandages, all that good stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and break that down. We're breaking down Sixless's backpack. Who else is bringing this to you? All right, here we go. He says, I carry around 200 rounds of 5.56 for my M4, and then 200 rounds for my VSS, of course, which is 9mm. And then he says 30 to 40 if he has a Car 98. Then he says, if I have a Car 98 and an M4 combo, I'll take around 250 5.56 rounds. The reason why it's less with the VSS is because you have to have more bullets for the VSS. Anyway, yeah, just thought I'd mention that. So again, he already mentioned the smokes. He has around, he says he has smokes around 8. And he says usually he'll have, and then for nades, he usually has 1 or 2. He says first aids, 5. He says, if I can, then I'll have 2 painkillers and 2 energy drinks. And early game, I'll pick up every bandage I need. And when my inventory is full, I'll drop some. So that's actually that's a cheeky pro tip right there, you guys. Because sometimes that'll happen. Like, I have my inventory selected to 5 bandages. But that is pure genius. Early game, you tend to find more of those. So he'll pick up 15 to 20 bandages. But then once he gets a couple first aids, and he has a second or 2 to go ahead and empty out his inventory, he'll go ahead and do that. Nice little, he kind of snuck a little pro tip in there for you. Yeah, so very, very interesting. He says, sometimes he'll have 30 to 40 bandages. But again, of course, he's dropping them once he finds some more first aids. But I think that is freaking hilarious. Okay, then of course I want to ask him, the last question I asked him is any tips for the VSS, because so many people are so intrigued by the VSS, but a lot of people think it's a paintball gun. People don't like the bullet drops, all those things. So I asked him what VSS tip he had. He says tips for the VSS is wait for the enemy to stand still so you can get that confirmed knock on him. If he's not standing still and you shoot, it's hard to land those shots, mainly because of the bullet drop. But just like anything, the more you practice with these weapons, I mean, any of the weapons, but specifically something like the VSS, is you have to be able to anticipate and know that bullet drop. It just comes down to just knowing the weapon. At any rate, those were all the questions that we had for Sixless. Just incredible. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the gameplay. This guy is second to none. I want to give a big shout out to him, a big shout out to Space Station Gaming. They're making huge moves, and just paving the way, it seems, and they've been paving the way for the competitive scene. But I mean, specifically the mobile competitive scene. It's just incredible what not only this game is doing for it, but teams like this, teams like SSG, and people in it, these pro players in it, like Sixless. Dude, thank you so much for giving me your time, for giving me your patience, combing through these questions. I asked a lot of questions, but I wanted to be thorough. Like I said, we have been featuring. I understand we have been featuring a lot of rankers, some of the top people literally in first place on the leaderboards. You're finding it right here on Riggs Gaming. But a lot of people wanted an actual pro player, a competitive pro player that has been there, that has been to China, that has been to Berlin, that has been over over the United States, traveling the world, playing PUBG Mobile. Think about that, getting paid. Insane. So again, Sixless, dude, thank you so much. Guys, show Sixless and SSG all the love you can down in the comment section. Blow it up. Another thing I want to ask you guys before I end this video, I know it's been 21 minutes already, but head over to his channel. I want you guys to go and subscribe to him. I want to see us help Sixless. Not that he even needs it. His channel is pretty much the same size as mine, but he's like 1,000 subscribers away from 40,000. Go over there, watch the last video that he uploaded, blow up that comment section, let him know who sent you, and yeah, let's get Sixless. Let's help get Sixless. Not that he needs it, but let's help him get to 40,000 subscribers. It would mean the world to me. The dude is a class act. He's tons of fun, and anyway, there you have it, you guys. Sixless in a light you probably have never seen him in before. But yeah, again, like, comment, and subscribe, you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And until the next video, this has been Riggs from Riggs Gaming.